There we go. All right.
I'm going to bring the don't break my butt guy this morning, apparently.
Don't break my butt.
You have fucked up now.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. You have fucked up now.
You have fucked up now. Yeah, we amuse ourselves. What are you doing? What are you doing to that poor dog? What are you doing to him?
Oh, God.
I know. Dog just wants love and attention. Doug starves him and beats him
And ignores him.
doesn't buy him a single fucking toy.
Never.
Not a single fucking toy.
My dog, for the record, has a wider variety of treats than most other dogs that I'm aware of.
Most other
There's a
humans,
wider variety of treats than most people that I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know people that don't have that many goodies in their fucking pantry. And toys, for that matter. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. And one of his favorite things in the world is plain McDonald's double cheeseburgers.
Him and
Plain
me both.
McDonald's.
Right? Him and me both.
Yeah.
So
it's like him is no ketchup, no mustard, no onions, no pickles. I literally mean plain because he has to disassemble all of them before he eats them for some fucking reason. And if that stuff is in there, he's going to smear it all over everything. And if it's had a pickle on it, he's really not fond of it.
Picky.
I imagine dogs and vinegar probably.
Picky guy.
Yeah, right? Get him a cheeseburger and a motherfucker's like,
I could see that. Vinegar's kind of nuanced. Like you have to kind of learn to like it.
Yeah, and if you've got like a gajillion fucking scent receptors in your nose, and I like to smell vinegar, but it's pungent.
True.
If you were that, you'd be like, dear God, man, So I could see where he doesn't particularly care for pickles. Parker he'll eat just about anything. He's one of those dogs that if you hand it to him, he'll just take it and swallow it, and then he's like, uh-oh. Like he regret, like, oh, what the fuck was that? He doesn't even stop to think about it. And he doesn't chew anything.
I ate it, but I'm not sure it was food.
Right, exactly. So he's an addict. I go over and get my
how
vitamins
is he
and
on
shit
giving
in the
him
morning,
pills?
Here's No, I was actually in mid-sentence to explain that, but if he hears a pill container rattle, he runs over and expects his pill, regardless of whether he has any pills or not. So
he's like, give it here.
Yeah, he's
give it here.
He's a little addict, man. He's a little addict. But he's on an anti-inflammatory now. So he's getting his pill daily, and he's very excited about it.
He's going to be on the commercials with the shitty stock music in the background pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Once daily...
Yeah,
Stubelta.
Stubelta. That sounds good. I'm good with that. That's not bad.
I live a normal life, and everything is fine. Here's me having a picnic in the park.
Here's me sniffing someone else's butt. Here's me licking my own ballless sack.
Here's me eating a pile of actual shit.
I can just see Dan doing some Photoshop work with that similar Dave Chappelle photo that has the crackhead that's sitting there. Y'all got any more of them?
Y'all got any more of them anti-inflammatories?
Yeah, there's a bad delay with the video. I think the video is adding delay.
Yeah, I think so. Zencaster's not coming with it.
Yeah, it feels like... yeah. You guys want to do video on Signal and do broadcast on... Oh, okay, yeah.
Maybe try that.
Yeah, just turn the fucking video on.
Turn off the video. Yeah, because I was... There we go. Is that any better?
All right, we're good. We're good. I think so.
Better? You like that better? Please stand by. We're having technical difficulties.
All right, let's do it. Let's try this.
That was great. All right, you have to bear with us here real quick. We always like to keep video up, just so when we know for away from the camera, or if we just want to fucking taunt each other. Really, I think is the more important part. Um,
How else are you guys going to know when I'm pointing at my dick?
right? Exactly. So don't forget to mute your mics on Signal.
Gotcha. I can't see anybody on
I
Signal.
can't either. It's just black
Perfect.
screen. My guess is that Zencaster's still stealing the
That's
camera.
annoying.
A little bit,
All right.
yeah.
Well, this has been a great podcast.
So I'd have to say that Zencaster, you guys need to come with it with the video. It should still be beta.
My root canal yesterday was more painless, I will say.
Yeah, for those of you that are keeping track, I think like both of you, which I think consists of like Adam's mom and some dude in a basement building bombs. We are a day late recording for transparency. I had a vasectomy on Thursday, and Adam had a root canal.
Ladies.
Adam had a root canal on Friday, so it's kind of a tale as old as time, right? My balls, Adam's mouth.
Right.
So same
Just
old,
as long
same
as you
old.
don't break out into Beauty and the Beast.
Why would I break into Beauty and the Beast out of curiosity?
I think a tale as old as time is like a line out of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I don't have a fucking clue. So yeah.
Never watched Beauty and the Beast, dude?
I'm sure it's some point when I was 8 years old or something. I mean,
yeah, it's a good one.
It's good. I can't lie, right? I'm 45 years old and I still will watch a Pixar or Disney release. Pixar especially, they've got great movies in my opinion. But I still watch Disney flicks too, and it's kind of weird when you're in your mid 40s and you don't have any kids to be able to, like Moana. I love that movie. I love the fucking chicken.
Dude, Coco's good, dude. I like
Coco. I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh my god, it's sad. It's yeah, it'll get you.
It'll get you. So good storytelling is good storytelling. I don't care if it's aimed towards a different audience than me or not. Fuck you.
The worst part is when a new Disney movie comes out, you can't go see it because you can't be the only old dude in the theater with no kids.
So, and I've probably told you guys a story. My very first job when I was 16 was I dropped out of high school when I was 16, and in order to do that in Ohio, you have to be full time. You have to be employed, right? So I had to go get a job, and there was one of those second run theaters, and the second run theaters are the ones that charge $1 or $2. They get the movie after it leaves the main theaters and drops a couple bucks. I know Adam and I have talked about this because we were talking about how cool fucking second run theaters are.
I love it. And you pay $2 and you see the movie and no one's there. It's like a win-win-win.
Right.
There's no losing.
Excuse me. So yeah, that was my first job, and I was an usher. Took your ticket, I walked through, hey, take your feet off back thing, whatever. And we had this guy. I don't remember what the movie was now. It's been 30 years. But these people kept coming out, and they were kind of complaining about this guy he was at the very back, right under the projector window, and people were complaining about him. And at the time, we just assumed the worst. And I went in, and it was me and one other guy, and we went in and just said, hey, sir, we're getting some complaints. I think that I don't remember if it was because he was being loud, or honestly, it might have just been that he was there, right? Yeah. And the guy just got up and walked out. And at the time, we were like, guy's pervert, whatever. And now 30 years later, I sometimes feel bad about that because I wonder if maybe he was just a dude. He could have even been mentally handicapped now that I look back, right? I don't know. And I kind of feel bad about it because I was thinking that, what if this dude was genuinely just there to watch the fucking movie, and it was the soccer moms, the Karens that we now know they're called, we're just overreacting. You know what I mean? You can't, it's a shame because you can't, you want to be careful and you don't want to allow that kind of thing to happen, but you also don't want to be, I don't know. You don't want to be judgmental and assume that everybody's a fucking raging
Sir,
pervert.
if you don't have a kid, you cannot come in here.
Right.
Sorry.
Right.
Pretty
Like,
much.
you don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, I mean, I get it would be different, I guess, like if the three of us went and watched it, but it would still be, I don't know. I think people are more tolerant now to all of that stuff. I mean, with all the
I
transgender and
don't
everything.
know, because
Not-
it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, not the
it's
child
like,
molestation. I mean, I don't think people are more tolerant to
People are not-
pedophiles.
they're
no,
fine
no,
with it now.
I'm not talking about that. But let's say, for instance, I'm hungry as shit, and we're in a pre-pandemic situation here. And let's say the only place to eat in town is, or one of the three places to eat in town is like the Chuck E. Cheese. And let's say I don't want a burger or whatever else, decide I want a pizza. So I go to Chuck E. Cheese, sit down, and like if I sit down like in certain spots next to the ball pit or some
Right.
other stuff like that,
Right. No, I'm
you
with
know,
you.
he's not there for the pizza. He's here to fuck kids. That's going to be the the
General
automatic
consensus.
Right.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't, I guess I would always rather err on the side of caution with that. Like I would much rather I hurt one adult male's feelings as opposed to finding out later that they were a pedophile, right? Because that's I think that's one of those things that the majority of everyone
But
agrees on is uncool.
right. But meanwhile, see, this is one of those things where I have issues with certain arguments because, like, meanwhile, almost any woman on the planet that doesn't look like she's a bag lady can walk directly up to someone else's baby
Sure.
and just start playing with its cheeks, kissing it on the face, putting their hands in their mouth, going nom, 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 nom. Meanwhile, if I did that, I would be. I was like, "Sir, put your hands behind your back."
You can do
where I
that to
can
me,
cuff
Doug.
'em.
You can do.
It's like,
you
are
can.
you shitting me?
You can nom me if you want, Doug.
To be fair,
but you know
it's
what's
equally
funny?
as inappropriate in both situations.
Well, and I was going to say is that I'm coming to find actually that more and more people are not as cool with that as they were. I think it's for you and me, Doug. I think it's more of an age thing. Like we do remember
I can
when
just be an old white guy.
Well, I mean that we remember when that was kind of normal, right? When a woman could just walk up and kind of accost someone's baby, and it was just accepted, right? I'm finding that the younger generations, the Gen Zs and millennials and whatnot, they're not as fucking hip to that.
No,
They're like,
we're like, get away
"Bitch,
from my kid.
why
This
are
is
you
my
touching
kid."
my child? Right. And I kind of feel like that's okay.
That's how
I
it
mean,
should
they,
be. Yeah.
they
It's a
are
stranger touching your kid.
right,
Yeah.
right. They are absolutely right. That's not your child. Stay the fuck off.
I've seen that happen. I have seen this exact scenario play out with millennials, and one of them thought it was cool, and one of them did not.
I would have paid money for video of that.
Just getting ready to say the same thing. I would love to see that because, again, it's just Doug and I are from a generation that was normal, and he's right. If a guy did that, we've got a buddy that he's got 4 kids of his own, and you bring a baby anywhere near him, and his estrogen levels go through the fucking roof, which is great because he has no neck and hands like concrete blocks. But when he sees a baby, it's like, oh, mine. And then fuck it after that. You're not getting any time with that infant after that because it belongs to him from that
He's
point
like, I'm
forward.
in dad mode.
Yeah, major dad mode, right? But if you were to see him do that out in the wild, right? Again, it would make people uncomfortable. They would think it was weird. Knowing him, he just loves kids. That's why he's got a fucking brood of them. Right. But again, I could see where that would, be off-putting to people. It's the world is changing, and I don't know that it's for better or worse. But if you look at where millennials and Gen Zs are coming from, they're not all wrong. And I know millennials, for instance, I know on both sides of the spectrum of what people consider millennial, right? I know the ones that are the entitled little shitheads that I just want to smack the fuck out of. And then I know some that are very just down to earth. Like they're just very, very realistic. And that's something that uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Not agree with, but like I connect with on a level. The ones that I know that are very down to earth and very, they look past the bullshit that boomers and Gen Xers had been fed for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be, so, and the thing is, if you boil it down, it's like I read something about toxic masculinity, and there's a psychiatrist that I follow, and he says toxic masculinity doesn't exist. There are just basically assholes in the world. Right. And I think the same goes with millennials. It's not that millennials are bad or entitled or whatever. They're people. And there's some that are just entitled little fucks. And then there are some that are, perfectly normal, decent. And I think that boomers, especially maybe some Gen Xers, spin the way millennials see things to try to make it look negative. Right. Oh, they're entitled and they want to be able to buy a house and all that. Well, fuck yeah, they do. Look at inflation and house prices compared to wages and things like that. Plus, we fed them, the boomers and even the Gen Xers fed them the whole college bullshit their entire lives. Right. You gotta get out.
You gotta go $100,000 into debt, right?
Right.
But then you expect a living wage? What a dipshit. We're not doing that.
Right. And
you're gonna owe $100K, and then you gotta just work your way up the ladder. It's like, why would I do that first thing then when I can just skip that part and do the second thing?
And another thing that aggravates me is that whole fucking minimum wage argument, because the minimum wage hasn't moved in a long, long time.
But Doug, if minimum wage goes up, the cost of living will go up.
Yeah, they're sort of making it that way anyway. If you take a look,
right.
It's like they don't build 1,200 square foot houses anymore. No. in a neighborhood. They'll build a shitload of townhomes,
yeah,
or garden homes,
yeah.
But it seems like every. Back when I was growing up, if you had anything over 1,300 square feet, you had a big house.
Yeah.
And now they're building these 3,000-4,000 foot monstrosities.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's shocked when, it's like out here in Denver, a 2,500 square foot house right now would probably run you $650,000.
Easy. Medium. Yeah.
And that outstretches the average wage out here by 1.5 miles. So anyone that gives me that bullshit argument of, that about home ownership and the whole nine, it's like, yeah, I'm ready for that 80s level of home ownership where I get like this, 1,200 square foot house, but they're as rare as, unicorns around here.
Yeah, they really are. And I don't want 3,000 square foot. I'm a single dude. I think anyone who knows me knows what I really want is a garage with a fucking cot in it, because all of my toys continue to grow more and more wheels as I move on. But I don't want to heat 3,000. The thing about home ownership, and I'm in a unique position because I didn't buy my first house until I was in my early 30s. And I bought in 2008, 9. It was right as the market was collapsing. I always joke that as I was signing my, loan acceptance and everything, the market was falling behind me. Everyone's like, just pay attention. Look forward, Dan, look forward. So
maybe you were that straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, right. Maybe it was my
fault. We sold Dan a fucking house. Oh, right? Shut this shit down.
And that was the thing, is that at the time, my ex and I, we could afford it, but we had to work hard to do that. And we had to get our ducks in a row. And for months on end, we couldn't spend anything, and we got our credit right. We worked to get that house. But the problem was we were upside down on it almost within the first year. Okay. So I have a unique perspective in that everyone tells me, well, home ownership, it's this great investment. Okay. And it's kind of not. It's a liability. I'm not saying out here anywhere. I mean, my ex just sold the house that we had, and she made quite a bit of money off of it, right? So it will eventually correct itself and you'll make money off of it if flipping houses is what you want to do, right? But if you want a house and you want to live in it and you're, expecting to stay in it for any time, whatever, and you're not worried about the resale of it, a house is a liability, right? I put furnaces in houses, I put roofs on houses, windows, doors, landscaping, the whole nine yards. When people fuss at me about renting, and I pay a lot of money here for an 800 square foot apartment, 850. But when my furnace went out, I picked up the phone, and a few hours later, a guy came and he fixed it, and I was charged nothing. If my dishwasher goes out, I pay nothing. I don't sweep shovel snow, etc. There are pros and cons to renting, buying, etc. So I guess my point is I don't want people to think that buying a house is absolutely positively the best absolute investment for you. It depends on everybody.
No.
And I do want a house.
You can shoot that down in a second. It's like, ask people how they feel about home ownership and what or what a lot of people would think about like a dying city, something like Detroit.
Sure.
Where you had, a city that was built for a population of 1 million, 1.5 million, and now has a population of around 400 and some odd thousand.
Mm-hmm.
That housing value, it only goes up as long as that area is still desirable.
Right.
And if you were going to buy into that mythology, anybody in their right mind could have turned around and pointed at, hey, you ever heard of ghost towns? That shit happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a perfect example, right? And I'm not shitting on home ownership because again, I want to own a home. I like having my own. I like having walls that don't attach to other people. I like to play guitar loud and listen to music loud, and I like to work on my vehicles at 10 o'clock at night while I drink beer and shit like that. So I want a house, but I want people to understand that it's not all fucking roses and butterfly farts.
What you're saying really is that you want your own space.
Yeah.
Where you're free. You're not that's not even necessarily saying that I want my own house. It's like I want my own space with the freedom to do what I would like to do in it more so than what you've got in an apartment where it's more a communal living.
Right.
I'm in the same boat because I make a lot of noise and yeah. I'm like,
right.
Dropping the fucking bass at 2 a.m. is frowned upon in most apartment complexes.
I grew up in the sticks, and there is still a part of me that misses the, having 10 acres of woods and shit like that to go dive into and fuck around. I'm not a real social person. I don't like people in large groups. So I like my alone time, my me time. And the thing is what I'm doing now, my goal is I'm kind of doing the long game in that I don't know if I'm going to buy anything like right here or not. Right now, my plan is kind of to continue to work and pay my bills, save money, and potentially buy property outside the city somewhere. And then over the years, develop that. I've had plenty of friends and family that have done that, but it's always been a long game. It's been, we make the plan, we decide this is what we want to do, and then it's 10 years later, we have the house on the property in the middle of nowhere type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not a 2-year turnaround.
Just do it. Just fucking do it.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to wait 10 years. Well, nobody does. I mean, but sometimes you gotta work with what you got. I think that for me, the fact that I can even sit down and put together a plan like that is feasible even over 10 years. I'm kind of, blessed, for lack of a better term, that I can do that.
I think you mean you are #blessed.
#blessed. Live, laugh,
and
love.
Actually, your camera just popped on, and I do see your live, laugh, love sign mounted behind you.
Did you? Well, and it's the tattoo is healing. So I got it right here on my pelvis,
right next to the birds.
Yeah,
3 birds.
Yeah, just above the left testicle. So it's.
God damn it.
So, speaking of testicles, I mean, I don't think we could get a better segue. I wanted to just mention the whole vasectomy thing, right? I have a whole new appreciation for the controlled awkwardness that I assume now women must go through when they go to the gynecologist, right? I've never,
Yeah.
other than having, when I wrestled in middle and high school, we did have to get hernia checks, doctor poke. For those that have never had one, they don't just like roll your balls. They stick their middle finger up inside your taint about as far as they fucking can and tell you to cough. It is not comfortable, right? I've had a few hernia checks and things. I have a Class A CDL and used to have to get physicals for that. Same thing. They check for hernias and stuff. So I've had that done, and that's not very invasive in the long stream of things. But, you go to an office and there's two guys and a woman standing there and they're like, drop trowel. My favorite part is they're like, okay, we're going to leave the room and let you get undressed. Okay. Modesty at this point. Where are we going with this? Because now cut to the next scene and I'm laying flat on my back with my balls and my dick through this little hole in a paper blanket, napkin, whatever this is.
All right, so hang on.
That's an interesting table presentation there.
So
a dinner is served.
What's the point in the paper exactly?
Again, it's I guess maybe modesty or to keep you clean. As they're cutting
from like the blood. Yeah,
sure. If something does leak, it keeps it from getting down your leg or whatever.
Or cross contamination.
Could be too, right? Getting something off your skin. Because they washed me down.
Or, I mean, you could get, asshole stuff into your not asshole stuff.
There you go.
And then that would not be good, yeah.
Which we all know is a cardinal sin, right? You're not supposed to do that.
Front to back, like a porcupine, buddy, like a porcupine.
Like a porcupine. But yeah, I'm laying there and they're discussing. They were very pleased with my grooming. It says in the sheet to clean up everything, right? They got to cut on things. They don't need hair there. And I was like, oh, wow, you did a really good job. And I was like, well, I've been, shaving this nut on my top of my neck for the last 20 years. Pretty good with a razor. But yeah, you're laying there and you're just out. Your shit's just out, man. And they're moving it around and touching it and pointing at stuff. And like I said, there was a woman in there and she was like, maybe 25, 26, gauges in her ear. And I'm reaching that point in my life now. I'm at that age where like all the medical professionals are younger than me. The doctor was like in his 30s and said dude and shit a lot. And I'm like, wow. But yeah, it was awkward, but at the same time, I don't let it faze me just because they are medical professionals. These folks have seen more testicles and penises and scrotums and assholes than I probably could ever imagine. A buddy of mine was teasing me. He's like, did you get a boner when they were washing you? No, I didn't.
He's
like, yeah, me neither.
Yeah, it's kind of like the height of awkward. I mean, it's like, and I imagine there are some people out there that are probably turned on by that, but it's like, feeling like you're sitting on a stage on the X Factor or American Idol with your testicles on display. Well, with all your junk on display for everyone to see, it's like, that's kind of the height of awkward.
And I'm very unimpressive down there. I'm no Mandingo, right? I'm pretty average. So I didn't feel like anyone was like, ooh, click, click,
That's why you got to fluff it up before you go in.
Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Adams, why do you have a raging boner right now? So I did make a comment and you guys know me. When I'm stressed, frustrated, whatever, I start making jokes. That's what I do, and that's been much to the chagrin of many.
Is that why you're always joking around?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm pretty much always anxious or fucking pissed off at something. So we're sitting there and he makes the first puncture. They puncture the scrotum to pull the vas difference out. And he makes the first puncture. I wince a little bit. He's like, you all right? I said, yeah, I made a joke. I said, I can't believe, that I paid for this, and ha ha ha. And I said, well, I imagine there's probably clubs down in Denver that they do worse for more money, and just thinking I was fucking hilarious. So the two guys just sort of sat there. The girl was like, "Bop!" And then she stopped. And I was like, I found the fucking BDSM chick in the room. So.
Or the one that's been through the least amount of vasectomies. Because
Yeah,
they're probably
that might-
like,
right.
oh, wow, this is the 73rd time.
Yeah, right. That some asshole has made that same fucking joke. I should have started calling the doctor daddy, you know, every
Oh,
time
God.
you go to, did you feel that? Yes, daddy. You know.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
of all the areas that I would want to make somebody chuckle while they have a knife in their hands performing surgery on my man junk, I'm going to be the straightest motherfucker you ever saw in your life.
Man, you
It's
know me
Dan.
better
It's
now.
Dan.
I can't do
Yeah.
it.
It's Dan.
I did ask him. He says, "How are you today?" I said, "No. The important thing is, how are you today?" I said, "No, no frustrations with coworkers, getting along with your wife, you know, steady hands." Because he didn't get where I was going with it until I said steady hands, and he laughed. He goes, "Yeah, we're good, man. We're good." You know.
It's like, please tell me you didn't have 3 Red Bulls and 2 Monsters this morning.
I was up all night fighting with my wife and the debt collectors.
He's
Yeah,
like,
let's
"No,
do
Mom,
this.
I'm not having a bad day. I'm tired. I've been up all night doing coke."
Right.
Anyway,
Can't
go and
find my
spread 'em.
goddamn. Can't find my seizure medicine. I don't know where the fuck it's at. You know. So. Yeah, it was. You know, it was a thing, and I like most dumbasses. I got online about a week prior, just looking for like tips and tricks, like try these underwear for support and try this and do that. Instead, what I found, there's about 5 to 10% of people, and I may still be one of them. I'm only 3 days out. 5 to 10% of the people that have what's called PVPS, which no, Adam, is not a setting on Rust. But it's,
God damn it.
I went ahead and just truncated that one. It's a post-vasectomy pain syndrome. And people just have these phantom pains and it just hurts. And some of it's like gut-wrenching and debilitating. And people have lost testicles over it where they go in and they got to like scrape the nerves out and shit to stop the pain. And the internet, and Adam and I have talked about this. Adam actually brought this to my attention over something else about a year ago, and it's changed my view on things. But the internet tends to be sort of an aggregator for the negative and the downside. So I'm reading on Reddit and on WebMD and all these sites on vasectomies, and these people are just going on and on and on about how fucking terrible it was and all these horrible things that they had happen to them afterwards, whatever. And you start looking at this and you're like, oh my God, you know, if you extrapolate from that, how you got to wonder, how does anybody have a vasectomy and not, you know, have all this pain? But when I was, you know, I'm in my office and I told someone what I was doing, I find like a dozen of the guys I work with, oh yeah, I had that done. Yeah, it's no big deal. And one guy had a granuloma, you know, blah, blah, blah. There was only one person that had some side effects, and that was after they had a reversal years later. So I was very confused and I started freaking myself out. What if I'm that 5%, right? What if I'm that 5%? So my advice is, if you're having any kind of medical procedure done, you know, go to like WebMD, read just the synopsis or whatever, and then stop. Don't go looking anywhere else, because all you're going to find is the bad stuff. I promise you, you will.
Well,
we kind of went over this with the Randonautica shit. Like, people only post when something remarkable happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not gonna post and be like, "Yeah, everything was good. We're good."
I went through. It was very uneventful. It was boring. I'm back to my life. Right, and that's 100 years ago when I was doing sales. I remember this guy telling me that there's kind of basically like 2 types of customers. And I think this kind of translates in. You've got disciples and terrorists, and disciples will go and tell a few people, oh yeah, you should go see Adam down at whatever if you know you need this done, because they're really good at it. And then you got terrorists who will go out of their way to make sure people know they had a bad experience. And I'm kind of one of those guys. You know, I'll meet somebody for the first time, be like, oh, hey, Bob, hey, my name's Dan Adams. Don't shop with Doug down at so-and-so. They suck. And I think the same happens with the internet. I think you're right. When people have a good experience, they just sort of, you know, move on, and they have a bad experience and they want to make sure everybody knows. Yeah. And that's kind of a shame. I hate that. And I think that's just a customer service thing in general, right?
I think it's a people thing, because you can take a look at post social media. This really isn't post. We're deep in the heart of it, but pre social media, you heard a lot more of, hey, these are the overall facts, these are the overall stats. And then you would have some of the anecdotal, my uncle, my cousin, my whatever. And those were usually pretty small one offs. But after social media came up and people want to read about interesting things that happen, those 0.5%, 1%, 3% case scenarios are all that get amplified. And then everybody thinks, oh, this is the most common thing in the world, when it rarely happens.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because you're right. Let's say that there was no internet, social media, whatever, and I just used the anecdotal, accounts in the office, I'd be stoked, right? I mean, nobody really had any issues. So yeah, like I said, what I plan on doing is, here in a couple months after I go through and, do the whole sperm count thing and everything's good and I don't have any problems, I'm going back to that fucking subreddit that freaked me out the worst. And I'm going to post and I'm going to put out the information that I was looking for and just say, because that's the thing, is if I don't do my part, then I really can't bitch about other people not doing theirs either. If I don't go back and leave a review, if you will.
So I'll look out for the post from u/shooting blanks 420.
Shooting blank 69. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's Adam and I did use the same dentist, right?
Ugh.
And yeah, I know, right? And what did I use to choose this dentist in this sense? Or this time, I think I used Adam's recommendation. He's like, yeah, I went. I said, what'd you think? And he was like, meh. Okay. I mean, nothing terrible, right? And I looked up the reviews, and the reviews were kind of, all over the place. I think they still got like a 4. I usually don't fuck with things if they don't get at least a 4. 3 being 2.5 actually being average, but we know how people actually rate things. 5s or 1s most of the time. So, but I learned that over time, Adam and I both learned that over time, this dentist was subpar, absolutely fucking subpar. So I have to go back and edit my review because I gave him a good review. I went in, the front desk girl was a fucking stunner with a beautiful smile. I was absolutely in love with her. And the dentist didn't kill me. So I was like, meh, okay, this will work. But then I started experiencing complications. Adam started having some complications, hence the root canal that he had yesterday.
Yeah, so funny story. So I didn't have any pain, and then she did something, and then I had pain, and then I had to get a root canal. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Right?
Yeah, it's interesting that the words root canal play into funny story.
You know what, dude? You know what? That was the least painful thing I think I've ever had done.
Yeah.
Even now, like it's
well, you have no roots in there now, so you can't really have any pain. So.
Well, I was asking that, and they treated it like a stupid question. I was like, if there's no nerves, how exactly does it? How does it hurt? And they're like, it just hurts, sore. It just hurts. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway,
well, the gums around it, the teeth around it bruise, the ligaments that hold the teeth in, shit like that will bruise. I went into the new dentist the other day, and she adjusted my bite like I've been trying to get the old dentist to do, and did a phenomenal job. Actually, my when I bite down, it just feels more solid. And I'm able to chew on my left side again, but there's a slight amount of pain. And she mentioned that when your bite's off like that, the ligaments that hold the teeth in will bruise, and it's going to happen. But by like today, I was eating some potato chips, which I couldn't do on my left side, and realized that I was chewing, and I was like, oh, hey, wow, I can chew on my left side again. Neat. And I had gone back to that other dentist a couple times, and they were just like, meh, use Sensodyne. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so
fuck that.
I had cavities, but my teeth didn't hurt. you fixed my cavities. Now my fucking teeth hurt. Like I can't chew. This is not what I paid money for. This is the exact opposite. This is backwards of what I go to.
I can buy a tube of Sensodyne instead of coming here.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I'm really happy with the new dentist. And they sent me a link that, hey, give us a review on Google. And they do have, out of like 300 reviews, they have 5 stars, which is pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to review it yet. I've got another appointment coming up where they're going to fix a filling that the other dentist screwed up and left a gap under the filling. They're going to fix that. I'm going to give it a minute before I write a review, because I think a lot of us do that, right? We get a new thing. We like the new thing. I just bought a Jeep and I was super excited, right? And if I would have done a review that evening, I would have been like, everything's great, everything's awesome, whatever. Well, a few days later, I discovered that it's got wheel locks on it, which are basically just kind of locking wheel nuts. They're just wheel nuts that are lug nuts that aren't like the normal ones.
Right.
They take a theft.
Yeah, they take a specific key to get them off, basically.
And not like a key like that you put in your ignition, but it's a socket with some different teeth inside of it that fit and open it up. Well, a buddy of mine who's a lot bigger into four-wheeling and stuff like that says, oh man, I like those rims. He says, oh, you got wheel locks, man. He goes, hey, did you get the key? And I was like, I'm sure it's in the Jeep somewhere. Well, next day I dig through the Jeep and it's not there. So I hit up the dealer and they're like, oh yeah, get with our parts department. They've probably got one. Now, mind you, the Carfax states that this dealership put these on before they sold it the first time in 2018. It's a used Jeep, right? So they should be Mopar or McGuard, I think is the name. They make them for everybody.
McWheellock.
McWheellock, I know, McGuard. So I go and the guy very resistantly comes and brings the master key set. You can tell he's not into it. He's like, whatever. He tries a few of them and he's like, yeah, we don't have it. And they decide that I have to go to their service department and pay them to remove these things. So, okay. So I just bought a Jeep that I can't take the wheels off of, that you brought into your inventory without making sure you have the wheel lock key, and then sold to me. Now, again, Adam and Doug know me. They know that accountability is very important to me. So part of this is on me, right? I can't deny that because I didn't ask if it was there. I also didn't ask if it catches fire for no fucking reason, but fuck me, right?
See, does not protect against tanks.
Yeah, right. So, my bad. So I told the salesman, I said, listen, if you guys will take these things off without charging me, I will pay to put new ones on. I figured that's fair. Yeah, let me talk to my sales manager and see what they'll do. Well, that was a few days ago and I haven't heard back. So, if I were to write a review now, it would be a little bit different than the night of. So kind of think of it as a honeymoon period. I guess my point is if you're going to do a review of something, give it 7 days, right? Let the post-orgasm wave, leave you, the post-nut clarity, as they say, hit, and make sure.
This is the weirdest TED Talk I've ever been to in my life.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Yeah, I guess like I said, my point is just that before you write a review, negative or positive, give it a minute, right? Give it 3 days. Think of it like sending an angry email, before you go blast in a company or whatever, but vice versa. Don't tout something as being the greatest thing ever. Give it about 72 hours and let it cook in. I used to do a lot of Amazon reviews, and I used to get some really funny replies from people because, again, I put my humor into it. But I'd always wait a couple of weeks before I would do a review, because I started doing some reviews. When I first started doing it, I would be, this is the greatest product ever, or whatever. And then, a couple of weeks later, I'm like, this is shit. Or vice versa, So, I think if we have a responsibility on social media to be fair, and I know that goes against everything that the world believes in right now. But I feel like we need to be fair and we need to be metered, and I don't think there's enough of that right now.
That goes against my freedom of fucking speech, buddy.
Buddy.
Well, you have to get past that shiny and new stage because The general the general trend is it's almost like a hunt. There's this thing that you're wanting, and you've been looking and looking, and like Dan, for those of you that don't personally know him and talk to him every day like I do, pretty much for the last 4 years, Dan has wanted a Jeep. And believe me when I tell you, he popped on the right one. He had been looking at stripped down new ones for about the same price as he paid for one that's got a lot of features. It was 2 years old. It had very low miles on it because, pretty obviously it was someone's toy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all they used it for. They weren't using this as their daily commuter. You can really tell.
Yeah.
So Dan got exactly what he was looking for after 4 years of searching for it. So naturally, when he gets that thing he's been hunting for 4 years, it's all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh yeah.
So you've got to get past that. Oh, I've finally got the thing, and that exhilaration. Because I've had products before that I got them. They did exactly what I wanted them to do the first time around, but they turn around and they break two and a half months, 3 months later. Yeah. That's why most of the time when it comes to anything on Amazon, if I review it after I've had it for 6 months.
And again, I encourage people, use things like Yelp, use Google reviews, use the Amazon review system, because the manufacturers are using bots and paid shit to do it. I promise you. I mean, we've all seen that thing that is 4 stars, 5 stars, and you get it and you're going, how the fuck? Right. And there are some apps. I can't remember what they are. I know I use a couple of them that they use an algorithm to go in and look for, like when words are used the same in, reviews over and over, or if they're really, really short, like when you get, because you can put a 5-star review in and just say great, right? And there are people that, believe this or not, are paid to do that. I get emails all the fucking time because of all the reviews I was writing. It puts you on these lists, and I start getting emails where if you buy it through their link, it's their product, but if you buy it through this link, they will, and give them a 5-star review, they will reimburse you for the product. Okay. So you're getting a free product to say nice things about it. And there are plenty of people out there that just don't give a fuck about being honest or contributing to society in any positive way. They're just getting a fucking free thing. I'm not that guy. Because
the fucked up part about it is if you offered me that deal, I wouldn't take it because I have enough shit now. I've moved it. I have moved enough times in the last 4 years that, even though I still do acquire shit from time to time, it's like I would not want 200-300 companies or 5 or 6 companies sending me their new product to turn around and review it, because other than, shove it up my ass like some magic kangaroo sack, I wouldn't have anywhere to put
it. Doug's bag of holding. His organic
magic kangaroo sack.
Yeah.
We got a title.
Magic kangaroo sack. No shit. Yeah, I kind of got into the whole minimalism thing a few years. It's been, a few more than a few years, for kind of the same reasons. I've been moving around a lot. My ex and I both, in order to improve our financial situations, we've taken jobs where they are, the opportunities as they come, and we've had to move a lot. And I think I've lived in 5 or 6 states in the last 10 years. And inside those states, I've moved around a lot, 2 or 3 times. Hell, I've moved now once. I've lived in 2 different places in Colorado now in 3 years. Moving shit, whether you're paying for it or not, just gets real fucking old over time. And that's been the impetus for me. I think that I'm probably about net neutral at this point as far as shit that I'm buying versus shit I'm getting rid of. I need to work on that. I think the point is getting rid of the things that you don't use. It doesn't matter how much stuff you have, as long as you are using the things that you
have to look around and you have to ask yourself, does this bring me joy? And then that's how you know what you need to keep.
The Family Guy episode, right?
Easy. Everything's a Family Guy episode.
To Adam, yes, there is a Family Guy skit for everything in Adam's world, and he's actually really fucking good at it. And the problem is I hanging out with him, I've realized how much Family Guy I actually watched, because I know all of, like, I'm getting to the point where I know what he's going to send me before he sends it to
me. He's like, I know the skit, I know the bit.
But they're still always funny. I still laugh at them years later.
We get it, Seth MacFarlane. You grew up in the 80s. Everything's fucking Airplane. We got it.
Hey man, don't dog on Airplane.
I like it, but he's been doing Airplane for 15 fucking seasons now. 18 seasons. Bird is the Word? No, that's not the greatest one.
No, I hate Bird is the Word. I hate him and the chicken. That one, or the knee bumps.
Yeah, I'm not into that one as much, but when they did the episode where Jesus came in, and at the very beginning of the episode, he had wound up with a copy of the song Surfing Bird by Sam the Sham and the Trashmen, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And played it over and over, took out ads, took out everything, and it just kept going throughout the whole episode. And I just loved it. I especially love Stewie's reactions. That's what's got it.
He's like, no, God, don't.
Crap!
And then they destroy it like they did Office Space fucking bit where they destroy it like the printer in Office Space.
So is that what we're doing now? We're gonna give the play-by-play of.
Thanks for calling into a Family Guy forum.
Family Guy forum, and we just explain Family Guy episodes to people. That would be great. And sadly, we'd probably wind up with a bigger following than we have now. So.
Giggity, giggity,
giggity, giggity, giggity.
The Family Guy iceberg coming soon. It's like on the surface, he's playing the song over and over, but it goes deeper.
It goes deeper than that. Guys, listen. It goes deeper than that. Well, people always told me that I have a big head and should get into TV, and that then it was I should do a podcast. Now I'm doing a podcast. Nobody cares. I'm like, okay.
Well, they're just saying you should do it. They're not saying
that anyone would listen to it. Just that I should go there and fucking talking to Mike, so I'll leave them alone.
Well, I've had more than one person tell me that I should write a book and just fill it with Dougisms. And they are laden everywhere in this podcast. And so far, we're still not Joe Rogan. I'm just saying that shit out loud.
I've also had plenty. I've probably had more people tell me I should, go fuck myself too. So, I mean, whatever.
I think it's an ironic timing that you got a vasectomy and then the bumpiest riding vehicle that you could. I just want to point that out because I didn't say it earlier, but yeah, he's like, I got a vasectomy and then I went and got a Jeep. Let's go run over some rock.
Oh, fuck yeah. Money well spent.
Yeah, I wound up taking Dan to the appointment, and I've got a little Mazda CX-5. I'm like, okay, we're going to go to your appointment, but we're taking my vehicle because the last thing I think you want to do is step up with some high ground clearance after you have that particular procedure.
And driving wasn't bad. I mean, Doug was taking it real easy, but it's the discomfort afterwards is just. Have you ever gotten your nut caught in the elastic of your underwear, like just right, and you get that little ooh. Yeah. Okay, there we go. It was basically that without the "there you go" part, right? It just kind of stuck around, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, I very much appreciate Doug. He took good care of me, bought me snacks, Walked my dog twice. I actually came back over later that night and walked my dog. So
But
that
you
was
didn't
really
go to
cool.
Dr. Richard Chop.
I
in
did not go
Austin.
to who by the way is a very where's he practice at? I don't remember.
Austin.
Boston.
Austin.
Yeah. Austin,
Austin.
Texas. Oh, okay. Yeah. So a vasectomy doctor, I think also called a urologist, that
Or a chiropractor.
yeah. So funny that Adam brings that up. Speaking of, people with like PVPS and all this chronic pain, one of the things I told myself is, look, man, you don't know what their other conditions are. You don't know what their aftercare was like. You don't know anything, and you don't know what kind of experience their doctor had. And the reason that last part came up is that we were at work, and I was like, oh, I need to. I've been talking about this. I need to just do it. So I went to our insurance company page and I looked for people in our network and everything. I was trying to do the right thing, right? The very first doctor that popped up in the list was a chiropractor that does vasectomies.
On the side.
Fuck that.
In his garage.
We align the spine in a way that confuses the sperm so that it doesn't.
It can't find its
leave
way out.
The penis, right? It doesn't know what to do. We break your spine right here so that you can't ejaculate any longer. So yeah, a chiropractor doing vasectomies. That's cool. All right. So I'm gonna go to the baker and get my tires rotated later today too.
Hey, in small towns, sometimes it's just like that, man.
Hey, in Alabama, there was this place for a while that was like Mabel's Beauty Salon, chainsaw repair, and tax service.
It's like where the husband and wife share a space.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, like, all-terrain vehicle upgrades and Sally's flower shop, So, I mean, I get it. And Adam's right. And Doug, too, like you said, Alabama and West Virginia and middle of nowhere, Ohio, that was very, very commonplace to see that.
Nebraska has a town with a population of 1. She's the mayor, the bartender. She's also the librarian.
What do you need a bar for if you're the only person in town? I mean,
apparently people visit because it's popular. it's a popular town because it has, it's like, it's the only town in America with 1 fucking resident. So people come through and yeah, she has a bar. She cooks gizzards, I think, and shit for people. So
gizzards and shit.
That sounds like the worst combination ever. And I'm not a fan of liver and onions, but gizzards and shit. I'll take a 0. It's like, what's the house specialty? It's gizzards and shit. Well, then I'll just have a beer.
Yeah, I'll just take a Coors. Thanks.
Gizzards and shit. Well, I mean, why not?
Gizzards, etc.
Etc.
Yeah, it was strange to watch because she has to. She taxes herself like $500 a year or something to make sure the lights, like the street lights, stay working and stuff.
That's bizarre. So, I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Very weird. Yeah, it's Monowai, Nebraska.
Weird. And now, like most people, I'm gonna want to go check it out. So
let's go. Let's drive up. Let's do it. We got the Jeep now.
We got the Jeep.
We can go anywhere.
We can go.
We don't even have to follow the road.
You can go fast. I can go anywhere. So
let's do it. I can't do either one of those things.
Neither could I, buddy. My Hyundai was 15 years old, brother. She was a great car, and I got nothing but good things to say about Hyundai. Yeah, after 15 years, all vehicles start to get to that point where they're like, hey, do you still love me?
There's this thing called planned obsolescence, and it's about that time. So
yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think vehicles, especially with all the technology that they're pumping in them now. I mean, I think when it was just engine, transmission, wheels, you could get away with things a lot longer. But nowadays they're becoming more high tech, which is fine. I mean, I think that's the direction that things should go in, right? But you have to accept. I remember I was reading something the other day that Tesla is arguing that some sort of CPU or something, or maybe just CPUs in general, are consumables. So as they were dying in the cars and whatnot, you couldn't say it was a recall or whatever. Now, I do believe that CPUs are consumable over time. I mean, they generate heat; they're going to tear themselves down.
Right.
But I don't know how long these. I don't know what he was arguing and like how long they were lasting or whatever. But I mean,
It'd be
Lord
kind of a
knows
dick move. Like, they're not supposed to last any amount of time. They're consumable. They're field replaceable. I just fucking just swap it out, dude.
just swap it out, right? At a cost of whatever, $3,500 a pop, you know. And it's, of course, I jumped into some Jeep forums and stuff like that to, you know, learn and things like that. And the hatred that these guys have for like electric vehicles is amusing to me. It's like, well, you know, Jeep owners kind of have a douchebag fucking reputation too. So as do Harley riders, and I've got both.
Well, it cancels each other out. Then it's like
It's douche plus douche equals eh. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of atypical for both of those things. But on that note, I got nothing.
All right, let's call it.
All right, sounds
Don't
good.
break my butt.
Don't break my butt.
You have fucked up
You're
now.
hitting my butt.
Done fucked up now. Now you fucked up.
Now you fucked up.
You have fucked up now.
Now you fucked up.
Listen to the
Don't break
man.
my butt.
Listen to the woman, John.